Reading from the Caitanya-bhāgavata Antya-khaṇḍa, Chapter 5. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Kata-dina premānanda-rase. Gadādhara, dāsera, mandire, prabhu, vaise. In this way, Nityānanda stayed a few days in the house of Gadādhara Das, absorbed in the mellows of ecstatic love. Om Timirandasya Kananjana Shalakaya Taksuram Malatam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Caitanya-mano Bhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Sayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Sapadantikam Vanchakalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bhayevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityānanda Sri Advaita Gadādhara Shivasade Gaur Bhakta-vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So, I'll just tell you a little bit about why I'm exhausted and about Govardhan. It's really fun developing my own little ashram, hosting people. But I decided that, Govardhan is such a sacred place, and somehow or other, even when I was almost against my will, such a beautiful place was made it for me, that it was necessary for me here to perform some tapasya, some austerity, just to keep myself honest. So I decided that I would go half around Govardhan every day. It takes about 2.5 hours of a brisk walk. I leave my house at 5:15. I get back about 7:45. Go with Sundar, Govinda. And it's wonderful. It's just so wonderful early in the morning, because only the sadhus, the spiritual people are up, and you hear it's every step is a dance, every talking is song. You really feel that way. Let me do one thing. Let me read you my latest Monday morning greetings. I fell in love with the mountain and other Govardhan musings. I fell in love with the mountain. I gazed towards the path just outside my ashram gate. A river of faithfuls scurry around Govardhan. My favorites? The old Brijbasi ladies whose Olympic pace seemed to defy their age. Their dress? Have you ever seen Granny from the show Beverly Hillbillies? I put my ear to the ground. I hear only kirtans or joyful chatter. Even the struggling out-of-town businessmen with their puri and pakora pot bellies seem to somehow enjoy the arduous 5 to 7 hour trek. I hit the ground in prayer. I'm off. My own trek of gratitude begins. Roti Baba. I pass a 20-foot lean-to kitchen on my right that is open to the Pilgrim Road, the dwelling of Roti Baba. I've gone by that shanti thousands of times. Never failed to see him majestically standing there, well over 6 foot, strongly built, light, swarthy complexion, shirtless, covered with a short white cotton wrap from the waist to knees, sporting a perfect long gray sadhu beard and dreadlock beehive hair. He is the emblem of calm, the picture of perfect dignity. Oops, I lost it. 1 second. The picture of perfect dignity as he soberly oversees his operation and volunteers, feed hundreds, often thousands of pilgrims day and night. His specialty, rotis. As I pass down, I bow my head, appreciating his life of steady service. Seeing Govardhan. The real Vrindavan is the hearts of the residents and pilgrims. It only takes a simple kirtan to bring their mood of devotion to the surface. If their smiles fortunately touch your heart, you too may become blessed with a vision of the Dham. And what was once a land too often carelessly cluttered with refuge becomes the spiritual world. It is still 200 yards to Jatipur, but I can distinctly smell the sour milk spoiling in its gutters from the gallons of milk poured daily in nonstop ceremonial bath of Govardhan. I immediately think spoiled milk incense, my favorite brand, reminding me of the rivers of devotion offered at the feet of Sri Giriraj. I love it. Super Bowl, not B-O-L. I passed the Jai Radhe team. You heard me right. They all wear red sweatshirts with their team's name, Jai Radhe, scribed on the back of the shirt below their shoulders, and their number just below that. What's their sport? Who do they compete against? I inquire. They're a group of men from Gwalior in their 30s. Years ago, they bonded together with the vow to yearly do a Dandavat Parikram around Govardhan, beginning on Ras Purnima. They sit together, exhausted but in bliss, a short respite from their tapasya before they continue their 6-hour daily jaunt, the first day of a week-long effort. What a team. By dint of their determination and devotion, I'm certain they have won the Super Bowl, B-O-L. Radha Tantra. I arrived back at the ashram. Sri Madhava Misra is finishing up a Radha Tantra yajna in my courtyard. Radha Tantra, he has to use my courtyard on Ras Purnima for a fire yoga to invoke auspiciousness for the world. My thing is the Shakti of the holy name, but he is kind-hearted and expert. Doesn't hurt that he's the grandson of Acharya Prabhaka, Srila Prabhupada's first disciple, and loves to serve the devotees of ISKCON. He's 50 now and had since the age of 9 traveled for more than 35 years with his guru, perfecting his spiritual craft, till his guru passed from this world a few years ago. Anyway, I trust my instincts that his intentions are good. It seems he is the real deal Tantra. It's quite a spectacle of swahas seen practically no other place in the world. He sat for the last 9 hours without blinking, focused on his craft of feeding 100 kilos of the finest oud and agar wood and other fine ingredients into the emblazed 12-foot square Ashtadhatu Kund. I sat for real chanting the Hare Krishna mantra, and with each swaha, I offered myself to the fire in service to Sri Radha. Only in India, only in Govardhan. Yes, I have fallen in love with the mountain. So it's been pretty nice here. But you know, I go around, but somehow or other, it's fatigued me more than I thought. So maybe I'll take a day off. But that's really humbling because I see people practically crippled, these sadhus, holding on to people, just going around. They go around the whole thing. I only go around half. Anyway, somehow we followed Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And of course, you know, Voltaire said we advance by appreciation. I've said that many times. And it's appreciation of devotees and appreciation of communities, exemplars. So somehow in this Caitanya-bhāgavata, Vrindavan Das Thakur is giving us some idea of Lord Chaitanya traveling after sannyas. And what seems to be here almost is he's relating Lord Chaitanya's incredible exchanges with the Panchatattvas. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityānanda, Sri Advaita Gadādhara, Sivasadeva. So we hear what we've heard. Srivas Thakur, we heard about Advaita Acharya. We're just finishing Nityānanda and now Gadādhara. So Nityānanda stayed with Gadādhara and that was described. And now Gadādhara is being described. Bhaya nahi Gadādhara dāsera sarira niravadi haribala balayesva. So bhaya means external, nahi, no external. Dāsera sarira, displayed in his body. So he was in some type of trance, and of course, that's what samadhi means. It's kind of a trance where there's no cognizance of anything outside of the trance. So obviously we should expect this because Gadādhara is Sri Radha, who's come to serve Krishna in the mission of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And I always explained her unique service. Her service means, love means you're focused on the desire of your beloved. And that's the guiding direction of your life, not your own personal desires, or your personal desires is love, which means to follow the desire. Krishna-nu-shilanam, anukulyena Krishna-nu-shilanam. What is bhakti? Anukulyena, very favorably, Krishna-nu-shilanam, or activities. Follow what? Anu, they follow Krishna, not the false ego. They follow the absolute truth. So when Gadādhara came, and I explained this before, but when Radha came to serve Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, to serve Krishna in the form of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, to fulfill the internal reason for his descent, which is to get this experience of the love of a devotee, Radha had to hide her nature, because if her nature as Radha came out, it would be possible for Chaitanya, who is Krishna, to the nature of his nature as Krishna would come out when he wants the nature of Radha. So she purposely didn't manifest any of the qualities of Radha in one sense, the very special qualities of Radha, but her service was helping Lord Chaitanya get that mood of Radha by teaching him the Bhagavatam, because that's the purpose of the Bhagavatam. The purpose of the Bhagavatam is to awaken our eternal relationship with Krishna. The first 9 cantos actually qualify us to do that, which is hearing the pastimes of Krishna in a pure mind, and therefore developing the aspirations to serve Krishna as the residents of Vrindavan do, and maybe even a specific type of resident. So Gadādhara taught the Bhagavatam, but his own internal bhav did not display any external consciousness. So he was in a deep internal consciousness, but that internal consciousness manifests still. You may be in trance, but you can still act. So it's kind of like that. He's in trance, but it didn't mean there were no actions. And somehow or other, so powerfully induced everybody to chant Hare Krishna. And that, more than anything, is the symptom of advanced devotee, that just by seeing them, you feel inspired to chant Hare Krishna. Because there's nothing more beautiful than a person of the utmost spiritual character where they're just following the truth. Such humility. There's something higher than myself. It's the truth, and I will follow it. So now it's going to tell a story to illustrate the qualities of Gadādhara. There was a most sinful Qazi living in that village. He strongly opposed the performance of kirtan. Gadādhara Mahasai was always intoxicated with transcendental ecstasy. One night he went to the house of that Qazi. Premānanda-rase, the mind, intoxicated with not anand, but paranand, the highest ecstasy. And one night he went to the house of the Qazi. Although people generally ran away in fear of the Qazi, Gadādhara fearlessly went at night to his house. And that's the quality of, one of the main qualities of a renunciate is that they should be fearless. Prabhupada's name was Abhay Charan. And then he got the initiate name Abhay Charanaravinda, one who is fearless, taking shelter at the lotus feet of Krishna. Because that's faith. And it's trust by experience. I give that definition, but it's faith. It's faith that Krishna will protect me, that he'll do what's best. And that faith comes by surrendering to Krishna and following his will, and therefore seeing his influence directly in your life. So it makes one fearless. Because if, again, one of our dear devotees in the East Coast, Bali Maharaj, passed away. I spoke about him on Wednesday, or maybe last Sunday. But that famous story where the thief, tried to rob his cab, and he just told him, if Krishna wants to save you, no one can kill you. And if Krishna wants to protect you, no, Krishna wants to save you, no one can kill you. And if Krishna wants to kill you, no one can protect you. So that faith, you actually see it, you live it, you see it. You look back at your life, you see how God moved the world to purify you. What happens to us is directly corresponding with something in our heart that has to change. And when one responds in the appropriate way, which is bowing their head to God in every circumstance, and responding to that destiny with character, with dignity, with dharma, and doing it under the guidance of the Vaishnava and Brahmins, then you get a realization in each circumstance that this has happened to elevate my consciousness. And therefore you get that faith. You get that faith that I am protected by Krishna. You become fearless. Gadādhara continually chanted the name of Hari as he entered the Qazi's house. The Qazi's servants sat down speechless as they watched Gadādhara enter. So he's in a very inner consciousness. He's just an instrument for Krishna. I was reading today, to be subject to Krishna's whims. It's not whims like we have whims, but whims in the sense that it's just Krishna's will. And to be surrendered to that no matter what happens, knowing that Krishna is always there, even if Ashli Shiva Padaratam Panastuma Madarshanam, Even if he seems to do something else, we have that faith. So Prabhupada's name is a boy child. He was fearless. Faith and fearlessness go right together, because that's our source of fearlessness. Give me a second. Okay, it's not bad. That's our source of fearlessness. The whole Bhagavatam promotes that. When they ask, what is the duty of a man who's about to die? What should he not do? If you want to be fearless at the time of death, then chant, hear, and remember Krishna always. Fearless. So Gadādhara said, you'll see his fearlessness. Where is that? Where is that fellow Kazi? Quickly chant the name of Krishna, I will sever your head. The Kazi was as angry as fire as he came out of the room, but on seeing Gadādhara Das, he became pacified. So Gadādhara must have been so beautiful and peaceful and very, very special that even the Chand Kazi became pacified. Kazi said, Gadādhara, why are you here? Gadādhara replied, I have something to say. Sri Caitanya-Nityānanda prabhu avatari jagatera mukhe balayila hari hari. Lord Chaitanya, and this is what he's told him, Lord Chaitanya, Lord Nityānanda have incarnated in this world to induce everyone to chant the name of Hari. You alone have not chanted the name Hari, therefore I've come to your house to make you chant. Just chant the most auspicious name of Hari, and I will deliver you from all sinful reactions. Although the Kazi was most envious by nature, he was stunned and cannot say anything. Because it was just so out of character for someone to challenge him that he just became stunned. The Kazi then smiled and said, listen, Gadādhara, you go home now, I will chant the name of Hari tomorrow. As soon as Gadādhara Das heard the name of Hari coming from the Kazi's mouth, he became filled with ecstatic jubilation. Gadādhara then said, why tomorrow? You must utter the name of Hari just now. Since you have uttered the name of Hari, all your auspiciousness has been immediately vanquished. After speaking these words, Gadādhara clapped his hands and danced wildly, intoxicated with ecstasy. That very definition of samadhi, prema, is you're not in contact with the material platform. You're not cognizant of your buddhi. You're not cognizant of your manas, your mind, your buddhi, your intelligence. You're not cognizant of your material identity. So, after some time, Gadādhara returned to his house. Nityānanda always resided in his body. Such are the glories of Gadādhara, who is counted among the associates of Lord Chaitanya. Saintly persons did not want to be touched by the air that touched the Kazi, for they fear that such contact would make them lose their caste. Yet Gadādhara mercifully glanced on that most sinful Kazi and took away the caste of any Hindu he encountered, He was so evil. When such a person gives up his envious nature, it's to be understood that that is the potency of Krishna consciousness. Satya Krishna Bhava Hoya Yanara Sarira Agni Sarpa Vyagra Tari Langi Tena Pare. Fire, snakes, and tigers cannot harm a person who is truly absorbed in Krishna consciousness. this fearlessness, that's one of the symptoms. One of the symptoms of a sadhu is that he must be fearless. And I see that culture in Vrindavan, not now because you don't see snakes because it's so built up, but previously when you see snakes, a sadhu or a Brahmin would just say, sadhu deke. The snake saw a sadhu. There wouldn't be the least bit fear. The Haridas Thakur, when he was in a cave where a python was there, and then people start coming, so he had to leave, but he wasn't worried at all. In Dharma, it says that one of the qualifications for someone who, in those days for sitting down and chanting Hare Krishna, you couldn't be afraid of snakes, especially in Godrum Dweep and Mayapur, where they were so abundant, and poisonous ones too. He just couldn't be. There's one story where someone came, and then he came to Godrum Dweep where these Babajis were, and he became afraid. They said, "You're not qualified." So there's fearlessness. Out of his causeless mercy, Lord Nityananda freely distributed to his dear associates love for Krishna, the love for Krishna that is desired by personalities like Brahma, an attachment to Krishna displayed by the gopis. Oh, brothers, just worship the lotus feet of Nityananda, by whose mercy one can attain the shelter of Lord Chaitanya. So if you want to attain something, you have to serve someone who is qualified for the thing that you want to attain. Especially in spiritual life, what happens is if you serve that person, service to a person has a mystic potency to create a kind of a conduit to another person's mind. You sincerely want to serve someone, you want to find out what they lack, what they want to do. So there's some kind of connection to that kind of service. And I told the story of Rupa Goswami that when he was watching the Rath Yatra and Lord Chaitanya was chanting something from a mundane romance to nourish, and Lord Chaitanya was applying it to his own bhava, which was anarpita charim charat kurim, which hadn't been given for so many years, millenniums. But Rupa Goswami just understood. And Lord Chaitanya, because he said, because your service. So when you said Lord Chaitanya, Lord Nityananda is fulfilling Lord Chaitanya's mission. So that kind of service to Lord Nityananda, that cognizance of Lord Nityananda, that worship of Lord Nityananda, then you understand Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. After some days, Nityananda Prabhu felt the desire to see Mother Sachi. So he began an auspicious journey to Navadvip, accompanied with his associates. On the way, the Lord came to the house of Purandar Pandit, the village of Gadādhara. As he entered the village of Gadādhara, Lord Nityananda danced so wonderfully that it's beyond description. Beyond description, because let's say you imagine someone who's the most beautiful person in the world. And can you imagine someone who's 10 times more beautiful than that person? Difficult, 1,000 times, infinitely more beautiful. So what is the beauty of Krishna? Where did I lose my place? Yes, so What is that like? What is the beauty, the strength, the intelligence? But just a form of Krishna. When you actually can perceive it, when by mercy it appears within the holy name, it's all attractive. So here it says, Lord Nityānanda is dancing. It's inconceivable what that dancing is. And he's dancing in ecstasy. Premānanda Pandit became so intoxicated with ecstatic love that he climbed a tree and roared like a lion. The body of Sri Caitanya-Das displayed no sign of external consciousness. He would chase tigers through the forest. Sometimes he would jump on a tiger's back, yet by the mercy of Krishna, the tiger would not hurt him. Sometimes Caitanya-Das would fearlessly take a large python on his lap and play with it. He would fearlessly play with tigers. All this was possible by the mercy of Advaita Avadut Nityānanda. Lord Nityānanda was affectionate to his servants. He freely gave them mellows of love that were rarely attained by Lord Brahma. Caitanya-Das had no fear for his external body, of which he was completely forgetful. He could spend all 24 hours of the day chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra or speaking about Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityānanda. Sometimes he remained submerged in the water for 2 or 3 days, but he would have no bodily inconvenience. Thus he behaved almost like inert matter, yet sometimes he displayed great enthusiasm like that of a lion. It's not possible to describe the transformations of devotional service displayed by Caitanya-Das, for they are all unlimited. So what is that like? And how can we possibly accommodate that in our consciousness? And we can, because of the mercy of God. That's what creates this hope against hope tension. That you begin to realize how great Krishna is, and you develop no hope, but then you realize within his greatness is his mercy, and therefore you get hope. But it's understood that anyone who is touched by the air that came in contact with Murari Caitanya-Das would certainly be enlightened in Krishna consciousness. Nowadays, someone calls himself Caitanya-Das, but he never chants the glories of Lord Chaitanya, even in his dreams. Sri Krishna Chaitanya is the beloved Lord of Advaita. Advaita became truly glorious as a result of his devotional service to Lord Chaitanya. All glories to Advaita's devotional service to Lord Chaitanya. Advaita was fully empowered by Chaitanya. Saintly people always glorify Advaita in this way, but some people consider this an insult to Advaita. Some useless person like this may call himself Caitanya-Das, but how can such a sinful person attain the shelter of Advaita? One who considers such a person a follower of Advaita never understands the heart of Advaita. These persons may be known by the name Caitanya-Das or servant of Chaitanya, just as demons are known by the name Punyajana or pious person. After passing some days at Gadādhara, Nityānanda went with his associates to Saptagram. In the village of Saptagram, there is a place associated with the 7 sages known throughout the world as Triveni God. The 7 sages previously performed austerities and attained the lotus feet of Govinda on the bank of the Ganges at this place. This place is renowned throughout the world as Triveni God. By taking darshan of this place, all one's sins are destroyed. Nityānanda and his associates took bath at this ghat in great ecstasy. Lord Nityānanda stayed on the bank of the Triveni at the house of the fortunate Udaran Datta. Udaran Datta sincerely worshiped the feet of Nityānanda with his body, mind, and speech. Okay, what time is it? Somehow or other, I'll have to stop for any questions, or it's just usually when I'm in the West, the 11 o'clock class is in the morning. And I understand now what it means to be brain dead, because nothing sticks in there. But if you have any questions, maybe it'll be easier for me, or if anybody wants to share their reflections, anything in the class that inspired them. Jamuna, you start.
Hey, Krishna Maharaj, thank you for class. You do well, brain dead. I don't do so well, brain dead.
I feel
I love the point of fearlessness and faith going together. And it is the faith that brings fearlessness. It's like the chapter in the Bhagavad Gita about the qualities of the divine. I always think the first quality is fearlessness. So I really love that point a lot. Thank you.
You see, I am brain dead because I had a point, but it didn't stick in my mind. That's the symptom of it. I'm just, I don't know why. I slept in the afternoon, which is unusual for me. And I slept in the morning, which is unusual for me. But somehow, I guess I'll get a good rest tonight. Anybody else?
Hare Krishna. Yes, Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I just, when you were talking about basically the same thing about fearlessness and faith, the fearlessness that comes with faith, I was thinking of the Trinadapi verse, and I was thinking that it sounds like that's kind of like the essence maybe of that verse, because if you are a person who is willing or who can tolerate anything,
yeah,
then it's like a symptom of your love and faith in Krishna. Anyway, so I was just kind of connecting that to when you were saying, a person with faith can subject themselves to Krishna's whims, So
well, that's what faith means. It's trust. And it's not blind faith, it's trust by experience. We have experience of Krishna in our life, of Krishna responding to our surrender, our sacrifice, performing our duty. We have experience of it. So therefore we trust that he'll be there. And that creates a certain fearlessness because you always feel protected.
Yeah, but that Trinadapi verse, I'm focusing on the one's tolerating any and everything, and I feel like you can only kind of do that if you have that kind of faith, or you're trying to have that kind of faith,
Yeah, I mean, yeah, we have to tolerate. That's it takes a lot of faith. It takes a lot of trust, because mostly we think if we control and we retaliate, then that will be best. But we see in the appropriate circumstance, because some circumstances definitely call for action, but mostly in the appropriate circumstance, if we tolerate, we see the power in that. We see the advantage in that. We see how much time that saved us from getting on endless threads and controversies. So yeah. Okay, anybody else like to say hello?
Thank you.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Oh, you're in your. So everybody congratulate Yavid Sundari. She took an initiation, I think 2 weeks ago in Govardhan. And now she's in Delhi for some Ayurvedic treatment. Is that it?
Yes. Yeah. Actually, I wanted to thank you, Guru Maharaj, and also I want to say some reflection. We were talking about when we look back in your life, we can see how Krishna arranged the events to something happening that to elevate our consciousness. And this is really something interesting because we can see this in our life and our experience.
Right. Things that seemed so difficult at the time, we see they had a purpose.
Yeah.
They had a purpose. Yes. Thank you. Good.
Thank you very much.
Anybody else?
This is Laja. And
Yes.
again, when you were talking about faith and courage and just being able to trust, clearly worry indicates lack of trust. And I think it's a form of thinking you can control or thinking that worry can help. I think it just worrying indicates a lack of faith, a lack of lack of trust and faith and just trusting. So
trusting, right. When a lot of times the devotional or spiritual thing to do is not control the situation, but depend on Krishna, doing just your duty, which may not be retaliating when you could get an advantage because it's wrong. There's a verse, I think, in Hito Pradesh, one book, Dharmasya Sukha, says that Dharma leads to auspiciousness. And we should have trust in that rather than being expedient. Doing the right thing doesn't necessarily always compute with a material advantage. It may be the opposite. But somehow or other, by doing it, you get that advantage. So that develops faith. Yes. Anybody else like to say hello?
Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj, this is Gordon Bhaktadas.
You got my letter?
Yes, Maharaj, I'll respond to that.
Okay, respond to that, please, so I can make arrangements. Okay. Anybody else? Say hello.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Thanks for the class.
See you, Radhika. Haribo.
Hare Maharaj.
You'll soon be united with your mother.
Yeah, I'm looking forward.
Okay. Anybody else?
Nice to see you, Maharaj. Yudhisthira here. Hare Krishna.
Haribo, Yudhisthira.
I'll see you at Rath Yatra in New York, or maybe before that, I hope.
Well, maybe one day you'll spend some time out here. We got all facilities. It's great. Really great. I mean, I think one thing during the retreat that we had that was nice is that we had really good internet connection at my place, and you can even get it from the courtyard. So people, they weren't on the internet or doing all that stuff, but people who have business responsibilities, families, sometimes they have to get online.
Right.
You make it easy. So we try to make it easy. And a lot of interesting things happen here. Today, I went for lunch with, Arjuna. He was in Dallas for a while, and a few other people. There's these brahmacharis, very super together. I mean, they look like they can run a large corporation, but they decided that they would stay in the Dham and provide prasadam for any pilgrim groups. Like if, they can deliver it to Kamyavan, to Kusham Sarovara, to Barsana, wherever you're taking. So we took so expert. I mean, what an operation. They're so expert. So we took lunch there today. And you just realize, wow, there are people that really are expert. It's just amazing what they cook. It was, for us, they gave us whatever they're giving outside, but it was quite, so it's been nice to be here. Okay, thank you. Anybody else like to say hello?
Hello, Gamaraj.
Hare Krishna, Gamaraj.
Wow. You guys look so blissful.
Trying to hold on to it as long as possible.
Yeah.
Karuna, nice trip.
It was unbelievable.
Yeah.
They were very courageous. They came despite all the coronavirus and legal implications. And Krishna, it was Krishna too. He protected everyone. No one got sick at all.
No.
People eating 3 times as much as they usually did, and by the mercy of Govardhan Leela, they were able to digest it. So
I was the only person who went to India and came back heavier than when I went.
well, not the only person.
It's so delicious.
I did so well with that Ayurvedic treatment, but it's I don't know. It's so many things are flying into my room. I wrote about this person who's doing these yagyas. So they're offering so many sweets, so many things, so many this. I tell them not to leave it in my house. It's just so many things, and people are bringing gifts from different countries. And Arjuna came today. I gave him so much of my stuff, which he calls a Punjabi grocery store, because I have so much stuff that people give me. So, okay, Haribo.
Haribo.
Anybody else say hello?
Hare Krishna, Gumaraj, Tota Gopinath here.
Kishori Radha.
Hey, Tota. Wow, Priya too. Wow, that's great. Get geared up for next year. I'm going to make a choice. I'm even thinking of having 3 retreats.
Wow.
I'm thinking of having, perhaps in the summer, doing a Govardhan retreat, because some people can only get away in the summer.
Yeah.
Maybe during the rainy season, maybe in July. I'm thinking then in January, I'll have the Puri Yatra. And then after a couple of weeks after that, I'll have the Govardhan Yatra. I just think that it's just so set up to do it so easily here. I might as well, even if a few people just come. And so anyway, I'm pretty enlivened for that, to serve in the Dham. Yeah. Anybody else like to say hello? Isabel, are you okay? Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Maharaj. Thank you for class.
Okay.
I'm good. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Hare Krishna, Maharaj. Yamala
Maharaj, Hare Krishna.
Does it look good that I will see you in April? Yeah.
Yes, Maharaj, we will be there at the end of March.
Are people starting to reduce the restrictions? Have they changed anything there? Are they getting a little bit? No?
No, things are the same here, but it hasn't been that tough for us. And we will be there, Maharaj.
Yeah. The next month, if it keeps on going down, a lot of these mandates and these things are going to be gradually lifted. Let's hope. Anyway, it's up to Krishna. Okay. Anybody else?
Hare Krishna, Maharaj.
Hi, Bo.
Hare Krishna, Maharaj. It's Don Cayley. Thank you for class.
Hi, Bo. Is that Ram Sadowski?
Hare Krishna, Gurudev.
Hey, Ram Sadowski. Nice to see you.
He was listening.
Ram Sadowski is half Polish and half Siberian, and he's a new species called a polar-barian. You get the joke? Okay. Okay. Anybody else?
Hare Krishna, Gamaraj. Well, Govinda. Thank you for class. Thank you for a great Monday morning greeting too.
Tommy, it was really nice up at Bhakta Bandha upon Nityānanda's appearance, huh?
Yeah, very nice.
What was the nature of the program there?
He gave two little talks. The first talk was on the Varahadev and Nrsimhadev, like the parallels to them. And then also then he talked about the Nityānanda, a couple of pastimes of Nityānanda Prabhu.
But he gave two talks at different times, or just?
Yeah, well, we first got there, we did some bhajans and kirtan. Then he gave the Varaha Nrsimhadev talk for like 15, 20 minutes. Did some more kirtan, and then he gave the Nityānanda talk, and then had prasadam. Did
we bring a lot of prasad?
Yeah. I made a chickpea spinach sabji.
Okay, and what did Tota bring?
Tota brought butter masala paneer.
Okay, what else we bring from outside?
Jaya brought like a vegetable soup with paneer in it.
Okay.
Then Sri Rupa made an amazing salad and pineapple upside down cake. And like little cupcakes, one was vegan, one was not vegan. And Chanda made dal.
Okay.
And I think that was.
And what did they bring? What did they bring?
They had rice and like rotis.
And we provided the rest?
Yeah.
Oh, how nice. And how many people? We had about 10, 15 people, right?
Yes. Yeah. And there was 1, 2, 3, 4, like 6 of them. There was a couple of people that were working in the new temple room painting. So they took prasadam later. But it's probably like 7, something like that.
Oh, so it wasn't a big festival for them. It was just like between us and them, kind of.
Yeah.
Okay, that's great. It's a great relationship, isn't it?
Yeah. Very sweet.
Yeah. You really have some place to go, like a dam, and it's only like what, an hour and a half, 2 hours away.
Yeah.
Okay. Anybody else say hello?
Very well.
They also had sandesh, Guru Maharaj. They had sandesh made with strawberry flavor and with pistachios in it.
Oh, wow. That's great.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Actually, Kishori made the salad. I don't want to take credit for what I didn't do.
Oh, okay, you're humble. You could have ran away with the credit. That's great. I really like that you're participating in that, helping organize that, because it's such an opulence, right? To have like kind of like a spiritual place like that so nearby,
It's so nice to have something to look forward to also each month. It's really sweet.
Yeah, we've been doing it each month. Yeah, that's great. Okay, anybody else?
Hare Krishna, Maharaja Samala.
Feeling better?
Feeling all right. I get random fevers and just tired. That's about it, though.
No respiratory problems?
No, just like a little sinus congestion. But
getting better or worse?
It's about the same. It's holding steady. I was thinking if I'm still like random fevers today, I'll call the doctor tomorrow, see if I can get another week off of work.
Okay, get better.
Thanks.
Haribol. Anybody else?
Hare Krishna Maharaj, thank you for a wonderful class.
Henry, I just love you and I love your background. I love you and you love your background. Yeah. Okay. Thanks, Henry. I think maybe I'm getting too old to do what I'm doing. I mean, it's 2.5 hour trek. It's and I'm going like at a real strong pace. And I have blisters on my feet. They don't hurt because I was wearing socks and even shoes. But I don't know. It just, I'm tired during the day then. Usually if I'm tired during the day, I take one nap and that's it. But sometimes I have to take another. Anyway, I have to be humble. Okay. Okay. Anybody else say hello?
Hare Krishna Maharaj, this is Sri Gadādhara.
Sri Gadādhara, Haribo. I pray you can join us one day at our ashram at Govardhan. You'd really love it, I can tell you. And you spent some time there, so you know how nice it is.
Right, I pray too.
Okay, great. So I look at the list, I see all the nice people that are coming to the class. Okay, I think I'm going to have to go now, but thank you all for coming. I looked up the whole list, I know it came.